Okay, everybody, good afternoon or good evening. Thank you very much for joining us on what I think is the fourth online coach conference. I'll stand corrected if it's only the third. I hope you're all keeping well. The sunshine does help. As I said before, if you can just keep your microphone on mute, just so we can't hear people clashing around, it makes it better for the speakers to be heard. We will also be using the Zoom chat group today. If you don't know what that is, if you look at the bottom of your screen that says participants and share screen and that kind of thing, there's a little icon that says chat. If you click on that, on the right hand side of your screen will appear a group chat. And if you have any questions for any of the speakers we have today, this is the place to put it. The urge with the group chat is for people to use it just to say hi and how is everybody. Could I ask you not to do that, just so that we can see the questions very easily, and you'll find that the speakers will try and answer them as we go. So I would appreciate if you just you wouldn't use the chat for general hellos. As we've said before, the world has changed. It looks as though we're going to be in this situation for quite some time to come. Indoor sports and Taekwondo, martial arts, anything that requires a class, we're going to have to find different and creative ways to do things in the future, both online and when we do get back to physical classes. Things are going to have to change. The world has overnight has rapidly changed, but the good thing is there's lots of people already being very proactive, trying different things, trying to keep engaged with their members. And really, for me, that's the key thing. You know, I'm hoping that everybody on this call today, you're all, even if you're not doing online classes, you are at least keeping in touch with your members. We don't appreciate sometimes how much of a part Taekwondo plays in people's lives, both on their social lives and for their mental health and their, you know, just talking to people. So, as I say, even if you're not actually conducting online classes, please keep in touch with your members, because if this goes on for months, and you know, it's a frightening thought, but if it's going on for a lot more longer period of time, if you're not keeping in touch with your people, that loyalty will drift away. And when clubs do reopen, whatever the new normal is, you might find that those people are gone. So, you know, for me, it's just keeping in touch with people, having a duty of care, using the tenets of Taekwondo, you know, all the things that we all believe in, just to keep our community together. So anyway, that's my part. Enough from me. I'm going to just introduce you now to the speakers today and the topics. We're going to start off with one of the British Taekwondo directors, Gemma, Master Gemma Biescas, who's going to talk about practicing Taekwondo in a limited space. Then we're going to hand over to Tony Butcher, who's going to talk about encouraging positive behaviours and attitudes. We've heard from Tony already, and it was really, really good. And then we're going to move on to Chris Wood, who I think's got the best backdrop today. He's the winner of our best background. And he's going to talk about just different platforms and equipment to enhance your virtual training if you are doing online sessions. So hope you enjoy it. I'm going to leave you at this point. My colleague and fellow board director, Siva, who you all know, he's going to facilitate today and link the three speakers together. So Siva will be the person with the watch and the clock and waving a fist at Gemma, Tony and Chris. And Siva will summarise at the very, very end. But again, keep healthy, keep strong, keep looking after your members. And Gemma, are you there? I can see your background, but are you waiting to step in? Could you switch your microphone on, please?
Yeah, is the microphone on that one? Yeah.
It is, Gemma. So without further ado, over to you. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, brilliant. Okay, good. All right, so my topic today was practicing Taekwondo with limited space. So obviously I'm Gemma, and this is welcome to the Premier Key Dojang. I'm an instructor at Premier Key. I work for British Taekwondo as a board director and also coaching the Princess squad. So I spent a lot of time working on this, and you know, taking out all of the aerobic activities that everyone knows anyway, press ups, sit ups, all of that kind of stuff, and trying to stick just to Taekwondo. But basically, we've been running online classes for 4 weeks for free, and some of the students didn't take up this opportunity. So I was a bit concerned why. So I actually rang people, called them, emailed to ask them their reasons why they hadn't taken this free opportunity. And for most part, the reasons were limited space. Oh, I don't think I've got enough space at home to do the training. So you know, we tried to bring some of them onto the Zooms, and we tried to adapt as many of our exercises as possible. So we're just going to have a look at some today. Obviously, before you do any exercise, always refer to the British Taekwondo safety guidelines and everything before you get going. Okay, right. So the main thing about doing the Zoom lessons is all of these people have been indoors all day. You're the instructor. You've got to give like extra positivity, energy over the Zoom link to try and keep those guys motivated and encourage them in every way you can. I find that by trying to do a lesson plan, which you should do anyway, but it's especially important in this time to do a lesson plan, and try and think of new ideas, constantly adapting, being creative, you know, so every lesson is something new. It's not the same old lesson that they're doing. And I know a lot of people, instructors that I've spoken to, myself included, are organising virtual gradings. So they're adapting their basic syllabus to go ahead with that kind of thing. This is all good, all adaptation. We need to, in this time and age, we need to adapt. Okay, right, so moving on. So last week we had an excellent, energetic presentation from Siva, doing some exercises. This week I've enrolled the lovely Francesca as my demonstration model. Okay, okay, brilliant. Right, so what we're going to start off with is going right back to basics. Okay, so just move back a bit so you can see your feet. Lovely. So we're going to do like even when we do horse riding starts, for example. So if you're teaching younger children, we want to try and adapt everything to make it more fun. So you might do your basics, some punches, and then you might, for example, you might say the first one to do 30 punches as fast as you can, and then press the thumbs up on your screen. This kind of thing to get a little engagement with your people. Okay, so we're going to do something that I do with the babies, with the junior beginners. We do the 4 blocks, but we learn the names in Korean and we learn where to prepare the hands. So if we're doing just for Aramaki, so we might be in horse stance, and we could prepare, so, and we say the words as well, so that you can choose whether you turn the mic on or off. It's up to you guys. If you can control your children on Zoom with the mic on, that's up to you. So we say Are, and then we do the block for Maki, and then Are, Maki, same Elgo, Maki, Elgo, Maki, yeah, back up, Maki, back up, Maki, and Maki, and Maki, so on. Yeah, so you've got the 4 blocks there, and you're doing the preparation, and then you obviously practice that, speed it up, and then what I do every week in the lesson is somebody puts their hand up or a thumbs up, and we pin them, and they show the rest of the children, and they have to unmic themselves and say the blocks. So you're trying to engage the people as well. Right, so doing the basic blocks, obviously we normally do For example, high block, coming forwards in long stance, in front stance. So obviously we might not be able to come forward. People might have limited space. So one way to do this, go back. Okay. So let's say we're doing elbow mat. Let's say we're doing high block. We're going to break it down into 3. This is for the beginners. So we're going to prepare. So prepare, switch on the spot, and block. So prepare, switch, block. Prepare, switch, block. Okay, so that's obviously, you know, this isn't anything new, but it just thinks, oh yeah, that might be a good idea to do even as a switching exercise, and you know, to get good leg strength. You can do any blocks, mix it up. We just picked the higher block just because. Then on the spot. So obviously we've been in horse stance already doing our punches. So all the blocks can be done at the side. Limited space, you can mix it up. And then, so if we're doing knife hand block, for example, you could practice it in a horse stance, practice the knife hand block. And then once the beginners or whatever level get happy with the hands, then we can do the stance. So we can switch on the spot. We can do back stance 1, turn on the ball of the foot, back stance 2, and so on. And that could be any combination of moves. Yeah, so don't always think backwards and forwards. We've also got the sides and on the spot as well. Okay, one exercise that I like to do, if you've got the space, is we're in back stance, coming forwards. Okay, we do hands on the waist. We do nice deep squats. Okay, and then we kick. If they've got space, we do a kick with the front leg and a kick that way and down, and then we go back into squats. Okay, so keep your hands on the hips, keep a really good posture, and down, and then you do kick, and so on. Yeah, so just mixing up the basics, so they're doing the stances, but also doing some kicks, just keeping it a bit more interesting. All right, okay, so we're going to move on quickly to kicks. So one thing that gets a bit forgotten sometimes on the kicks is the foot position. So I don't know if you can see from just his feet from there. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Okay, so on the floor, I don't know if you can see this. I'll do it with my hand as well. Okay, so first of all, you're going to stand on tiptoes as high as you can. That's it. Try and keep your heels in a straight line. That's it. Okay. Okay, so you've got obviously like heel lifts exercise, and then if you drop one foot, keep the other foot in the ball of the foot position, and then you can practice keeping the ball of the foot in this position there. And then for side kicks, standing on the edge, obviously be careful they don't roll over on ankles or anything. 1 foot flat, raising up to the side, practicing keeping a good knife edge. Okay, then we're going to go down onto the floor, still sticking with, you might have to go sideways with this go, so you can see your feet. Big legs out. No, we're doing foot exercises. Okay, right. So, so from there, okay, so we're still doing foot exercises. So pointy toes, feet all the way back, pointy toes, ball of the foot, and side kick. Okay, so then you get a nice routine going, and then you have to practice. So it goes point, back, point, ball, side, point, back, point, ball, side. Okay, so they can, and that's obviously that doesn't take up much space. They can do it while they're watching TV, practicing, and so on. Okay, we're moving on to some different body positions for when I had a whole section on stretching, so I had to take it out because it went on too long. So so pretend that you've already done the stretching exercise. So go into splits position. All right, okay. So if someone's already in splits or they're trying to be in splits, we're going to practice going to the side, sideways. Okay, stretching here, but also strengthening the sides, ready for the side kick exercise. Okay, so, and then going over to both sides. Okay, and the same when you're in front splits, just pick a splits. Okay, squashing your chest, keep one hand each side, try and keep it as central as possible so that you keep the body that way. Okay, that's good. Obviously, if they're not in splits, they can still use their hands over to side. You can actually use, one thing we've been using as well, you can use like cushions. So if they're up in a box splits position, they can still support themselves there and still do the exercises. Okay, right, using the wall now. So using the wall or a chair if they've got space. So we're going to You might not be able to do this one, depends on how nice the wallpaper is, okay, and how clean your feet are. But if they're allowed, obviously, you know, you can sort that out with your students. You're going to put the foot on the wall, if they're allowed, and they've got clean feet. Okay, keeping a nice straight position here, and we're going to put one hand each side. We're going to practice strengthening here. That's it. These are all these Taekwondo specific exercises, yeah? So you can mix all these exercises in with the basics, with your body weight exercises, okay? And then from that position as well, you can practice, keep bringing the leg in, so you're practicing and holding good, practicing retracting the side kick. Very good demonstration here. Okay, there we get the idea. No problem. Right, okay, then obviously while we've got the wall here, your normal side kicks, which you're probably most likely doing anyway. So making sure that they've got space, obviously, you know, going in and out. So obviously when you're doing any exercise, you want to practice slowly and with fast, so that you're capturing the slow twitch fibers and the fast twitch fibers. Okay, so you can do some slow ones, going up there. Yeah, I like to hold it. When you're in the position as well, you can do pulsing, which is very small, up and down, and that just stabilizes all the muscles. Do small circles in and out, that's good. And then you can come in, and then you can do sharp ones and back in. So you can mix it up, you can double ones. Anyway, any shapes you like. We tried to do the other day, we tried to do triangles and do with the children. You know, we did circles, triangles, square shapes, all kinds of that stuff. Okay, right, we're moving into the floor position for side kicks. Okay, so obviously, I think some of these were done last week, I can't remember exactly. So laying on the floor, in and out, same thing, in and out, making sure you're in a really good body position, knees comes in, such as here, good side kick foot position, which we practiced earlier, out and in, and then in the box position. Okay, so same thing, in and out to the back. Okay, so when you come in, keeping the knee nice and high here, and a good knife edge, in and out. Okay, and then same thing when you're in the out position. Okay, we can pulse, we can do circles, we can do squares, we can do any shape you like. Okay, right then, making it really hard, maybe for elite level, sideways in the box position. Side kick. Okay, you can also do it from the side, going up and down here, and so on. Yeah. Okay, I tend, in my class, I tend to mix this one up with maybe, you know, like a plank or something right down there, something like that. It's up to you. Okay, all right, stand up. We're going to come back to side kicks in a second. We're going to do some front kick exercises now. We've already done the ball of the foot. One exercise that we do is we put our hands in front this way, okay, and we practice keeping, to make it a nice point, we practice doing front kicks in the centre of our body. So one, that's it. So we just use that as a guideline so the foot doesn't go sideways. That's it. That's a good one you can do on the spot and everything. Right, so if you do the kicks in walking stance, it's not going to take too much space. If you do it in front stance, you can go forwards and backwards. So if you just go, so front kick in front stance, kick, land in front, and you can practice going backwards, raising the foot without shifting the leg in. So you're not allowed to bring the leg in, you just got to pick it straight up. That's it. Good. And then up. So I know those kinds of things as well. Okay. Is that all the front kick? Yeah. Okay. All right. So obviously, when we're doing the front kicks, you can do, if you put your hands on your head, you're engaging more of your core muscles a little bit harder. So you can do that, and you can do multiple kicks. So if I'm just doing 3 front kicks, for example, 1, 2, 3. The idea is that they keep the knee up nice and high, and they don't swing the leg up and down. And that could be the same for turning kick as well. So turning kick to the side, 3 turning kicks, and so on. Good. Excellent. Right. Okay, we're moving on to. Oh yes. So we're back into the side kicks as well. I saw some people, because a lot of this, like exercises, a collaboration, you talk to other instructors, just throw ideas at each other, you know. And what I do as well is I send I ask for feedback, even from the little babies, you know, what did you like today? And they put on the chat, I really like this one, and or ask them to email you so you know what they're enjoying. It's all about their enjoyment that will keep them coming back. So what some of the students have put in, like little lines or circles, targets on the wall to aim at. which is fine, but obviously we don't tend to do that in our class because not everybody's got that capacity. So we try and keep it the same for everybody on that one. Okay, so we're just going to talk a little bit about the PUMSE. Okay, now I've actually found this part the most challenging to teach because I'm looking at the camera. I've got a laptop looking at me. I'm getting muddled up on right and left and which way I'm facing. So I always try and face away from them and keep telling the little ones and the adults, to be honest, this is the front. I'm the front. So that when we're doing the moves, I say, go to the front, come towards me. So it just takes a little bit of adapting on that sense for the PUMSEs. Okay, so a couple of things we've been doing for people that haven't got much space is, so let's take pattern 3, for example. If we're doing a stance that we can't fit in, we're saying the names of the stances. So if we start with pattern 3, take it Samjang, Chimbi. Okay, so we go 1, and then all the students say walking stance. We're so enthusiastically walking stance. Walking stance, okay. And we kick, punch, and we say long stance. Long stance or front stance, doesn't matter. But long is quite good because it makes them remember that it's long. Okay? So if they haven't got space, they're saying it in their head, walking stance, long stance. And then I tell them in the week, go and practice it in the garden or somewhere so that you've got some space so you do the right stances. Because obviously we've got to be careful not to teach them. They go out to like a big competition and they're doing like a really small stance. Okay, all right. So that's one thing. And another thing we're doing to adapt to the land space is we're adding any jumping around. We say jump. So for example, if Francesca does choreo, if you go from this bit. Okay, so we're doing choreo. She's going to come forward 1, 2. Oh dear, she ran out of space. So she says jump. She jumps backwards and does the next move. Okay, so we do that again. So Francesca's going to do it by herself, and whenever she has to move back, she's going to say jump. Okay, off we go. Jump. Jump. Okay, very good. Okay, so the idea is that obviously when we have got enough space and we're back out into the real world, she's going to know that jump isn't in the pattern. So that means there isn't a jump there. Okay, so that's the struggle I think we're going to have is taking out all these like bad habits that we're going to pick up. So we just have to be a bit careful on that. The good thing about the PUMSE is there's so much in them. You can pick out little bits to work on in a very small space. So for example, if we take a little bit of Pyongwon, the bit that everybody loves, okay, and we can really make the students get a little workout just from these couple of moves. So they do the front kick, 1, plant the foot, and then they're going to hold the preparation. 1, 2, 3, shoot, return, return, 2, 3, and back stance. So we're going to do that again because my demonstration model wasn't up to scratch there. So let's try again. Okay, so 1, kick, plant, hold, 1, 2, 3, shoot, return, 2, 3, and back stance. That kind of thing, yeah? So we're making them really work just on a couple of moves. And there's so many moves in the PUMSE, you can just keep going forever on that. Okay, good job. Right, so I'm just going to go over, I don't know how much time, but we nearly finished, promise. Okay, 1 step. So what we do in our club with 1 step is we number the techniques, and each new belt, they have to learn another technique. So we're just going to do technique number 1. So this is our technique number 1. I'm going to punch Francesca. I'm going to do it middle section. I'm going to start with my right hand. This is our technique number 1. Okay, so it's a knife block, grab, and a kick. Very simple one for number 1. Okay, so when we're teaching it to the children, okay, so we're in this position, but we're going to turn around so that they're the same way as us, if that makes sense, yeah? And we always start with the right hand punching, so they're going to step back with their right leg, okay? And we go 1, so they step back and block, okay? They grab and kick 2, and kia, and then shift back. And then chimbi, and then the other side, okay? So 1, 2, clap, and freeze. Okay, so the difficulty is obviously you're facing away from them, but if you teach them forward and then turn around so they're doing the same arm and leg as you, okay? So then you teach them that. Then the instructor attacks them. So you're attacking with this arm, okay? And as they come forward, so you say sijak, and come forward and punch, and then you can watch on the screen as the children defend this virtual hand that's coming through the screen. Yep, block, kick, and that, and you go back to chimbi, and then the other side, block, kick, and done. Brilliant. Okay, next exercise is I've got 2 more to go, but they don't take long at all. This is a sort of wake you up exercise. So bounce on the spot in fighting stance. Okay, and it can be anything, but today we're going to do Hana is switch, Dawn is touch the floor, Set is kick. Any kick you've got space for, front leg, back leg, doesn't matter. Ready? So we go Hana, Dawn, Set. Okay, then we do that a couple of times, everyone knows what they're doing, and then we mix it up. So bouncing, Set, Dawn, Hana, Dawn, Dawn. Okay, yeah, we'll stop there before it goes wrong. Okay, all right, and the very last exercise we've got to do today, the children love this. We've got a lot of feedback from this, from the Zoom people. We call it knee sparring. Okay, this is great if you haven't got any space at all. So we're in fighting stance, okay, and we might do it by time, or we might, so say you're doing it for 30 seconds, for example. They're sparring on the spot, but they can only raise their knees up, so they can do doubles, they can do jumping kicks. Just going to do a quick demonstration, but I have to stay sideways. Sijak. So that's it, just raising their knees, they're doing jumping. That's it, doesn't take any space at all. No one gets hurt. Keep going, it'll be 30 seconds. Okay, all right. Okay, good. I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so, and that's just another way of getting a really good cardio workout as well. They're doing they're sparring an invisible person, but they're getting a really good workout, and the children really enjoy it. So, yeah, so I had loads more, and I had loads of stretching, I had a whole section, but I had to chop it off so I didn't get told off for going over time. So any questions, give me a shout. Thanks a lot. Over to Tony.
Hi Gemma. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm just going to step in for Ian. But Gemma, that was absolutely fantastic. I must say, firstly, a massive thank you and well done to Francesca for being your demo. I think I should have used that tactic last week, but no, brilliant. And during these strange times, you know, we're all at home with our families, and space is like gold dust at the moment. So it's, you know, you very, very eloquently presented how to optimize space. And, you know, just thinking about and reflecting my own sessions, people live in different types of homes and flats and training in rooms. So you really articulated some very, very creative ways of utilizing space effectively. Some of the takeaway points were brilliant around planning. I guess, Gemma, it's really important to plan. And like you said at the beginning, when space is not at anyone's disposal. So as coaches, it's really important to be prepared for varying circumstances. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, and also, like I said to you, a lot of the students that I'd contacted that were reluctant to get involved were worried about the space. So when I said, you know, come along, we're not going to use much space at all. We don't need. I've got one person that's a student in Scotland, is in a student hall, student accommodation, tiny room. They're still getting a really good workout and enjoying themselves. So we just be understanding of everyone's surroundings.
Brilliant. And you know, some of the other takeaway points is the fact that they're actually still doing a good Taekwondo workout, but also, you know, I like the elements, and I can see some very good messages, some positive posts around involving core strengths around there, which makes techniques more effective, I guess. Also, collaboration with other coaches, and share and collaborate, but also seek feedback from your members, because ultimately, you know, they're the ones who are at their homes doing these exercises. So it's vital to seek their feedback. Engaging them with emojis, that's a nice one, you know, and I guess the little ones really interact and enjoy, but also you're able to connect with them like you would do in sessions when you go tap them on a shoulder or give them a thumbs up or something like that. But Gemma, an absolute nice 15-minute piece on how to effectively use space. There are some questions, Gemma. If you could kindly address them when you come to your laptop, that would be absolutely fantastic. But thank you, and thank you to Francesca. Thank you. We will now swiftly move on to our next speaker, who is Anthony Butcher, who will be covering the topic of encouraging positive behaviours and attitude. So if we could kindly have Anthony.
Right.
Is Anthony? Yep, you're there. Brilliant. Over to you.
Oh, hi there. Right, hi everyone. For those who don't know me, my name's Tony Butcher, 5th Dan instructor. I've been in Taekwondo for 30 years now. I've been instructing for 15 years. Opened my first club in Ickenham in 2005, and I went full-time as an instructor in 2012. Now I've got 3 clubs. So I've got Ickenham, West Drayton and Hayes End. At the point of closing down, I had 370 members, half a dozen adults and all the rest children. And I've started my online sessions about 2 or 3 weeks ago. A couple of, I think it's the first conference we had, Ian asked for some feedback, and I sent an email saying what I would love to do with the feedback is liaise with all the instructors and find out what you guys do in your class that makes it successful. So when we finish the lockdown, we can all go back with some fresh ideas. Be lovely to go back with some great ideas that everyone's sharing. And looking at a lot of the faces here today, a lot of instructors have gone down the Karugi route, others have gone down the Pumsi route. The issue that I've had with my clubs is that probably about 85 to 90% of the students train once a week. So, for example, they might train with me on a Monday. They might have cubs or brownies on the Tuesday, swimming Wednesday. So they have something else every day of the week. And so Taekwondo so much isn't a passion for them like it is for us. It's just another thing that they do. What makes it even harder sometimes is that a lot of the kids are there because the parents want them there. So the parents want them there because they're worried about the modern society. They want their children to be able to protect themselves. So because I obviously, if they're training once a week, I can't really go down the Karugi route. I can't really go down the Pumse route. My view is, what route can I go down? What can I do? What can I make? How can I make my club different? So my philosophy is I try and do all the different aspects of Taekwondo equally, but the main thing is for us self-defense, because it's what the parents want. And also I do all of this with an underpinned by the philosophy of developing their characters. Trying to back up what the parents say and be like their third parent. That's what I'm trying to do. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. Sorry, there's no slides, I'm afraid. You just got to look at me for about 15 minutes. So the content of my points are encouraging positive behaviour and attitude, which is what I do in my classes. So these are aspects of what I do in my club, and if you guys think this is something you could take on and adopt, brilliant. And if you guys got other things that you do in your clubs that I can adopt and we can all share, it'd be absolutely fantastic. So these are the things, just a few of the things that I do in my classes. We start off in my Ickenham class. We have a couple of under 5s classes. So obviously they're very, very young. Now, there's no senior grades there, but we have introduced the junior belts, which a lot of people are doing these days. And what I do at the end of those classes, obviously you can't turn and face the senior grade to bow out. So instead I say, right, guys, turn and face your parents. And I say, cheerio up, and I make them bow to their parents. And then they turn and face me, cheerio up, Taekwondo. So right from the start, when they're 4 or 5 years old, they know that they've got to respect their parents. It's a very important thing that I do in my club. Plus, for the parents coming into my classes, they're sort of like, whoa, hang on, my kids are bowing to me. It's, you know, and it helps them bond together, and they understand what I'm trying to do. When it comes to, actually, we do this for the under 5s and the under 7s. We do, if I feel they're not key-upping loud enough and they're not shouting loud enough, what I'll do is I'll have a bit of fun with the parents. So I'm getting the parents on my side all the time. I say, we're going to do an exercise, let's say 1-for-1 kicking. And I say, after this exercise, I'm going to ask each and every one of your parents, do you shout louder here or at home? Okay. And if it's the answer's here, excellent. If the answer is at home, ooh, bad news, because to me, that's being disrespectful to your parents. And the parents will then come up with a little task for them to do. You know, it might be tidying their bedroom when they get home, sorry. It could be washing mum or dad's car or making them some dinner, something a little bit of fun. Some of them do 5 or 10 press-ups. And I know that apparently we're moving away from using exercise as a punishment, but a lot of the parents really like that extra discipline because they say that's why they bring their children to martial arts classes. They want the discipline. So I think if they want to give them press-ups 5 or 10, well, that's fine by me. With the juniors, what I do is obviously there's a lot less parents, so because they think they're old, the kids are old enough. So I'll ask the parents to be judges. So we do an exercise. Let's just say once again it's 1-for-1 kicking, and I say, okay, there's the standard. Okay, the kids do their 1-for-1 kicking, and let's say they're that good. I say, right now, I want you that good. I want you better, and the parents are going to judge whether you are that good. And the parents have a show of hands. If it's more, say yes, then great, we move on. If no, they do it again. And sometimes I go higher. So let's say the parents said, yeah, they went that big, they went that well. And then I say, parents, do you think they can do better? And they might say yes. Okay, now we're going to go this high. It's got to be better. Parents are going to vote. Okay, and they do it again. And we can do this for all kinds of exercises. And it's another great way of making sure that it actually improves the standard. Right, now the other, bear with me a second, the gradings. Firstly, we have a little thing which we do for any special needs students. We have a number of autistic children that I teach. So what we do is we have, I designate a black belt to go in to the grading hall with the child, and I say, this black belt is there to help you, so they can follow the black belt, they can follow them doing the pattern, they can obviously let them know that when they spar, they're there to help you, and that's been a massive help. For the gradings themselves, now this is another another reason why sharing ideas really helps. My wife is a primary school teacher, and she came back one day and said that one of the kids in her class had come up to her with a piece of paper, and he was with the local karate class, but we'll discuss that later. And he needed this form filled to say they'd been well behaved in class before he could do his grading. And I thought, right, I'm using that, I'm nicking that, and I'm taking it. So now, before they do a grading form has to be signed by a parent to say they've been well behaved at home, has to be signed by the teacher to say they've been well behaved at school. So I'm teaching them that when they do the 5 tenets of Taekwondo, it's not just about being well behaved in class and then going misbehaving and being rude to your parents and rude to the teachers. Not going to happen. So we've had about 4 instances where a teacher or a parent has refused to sign the form. That's it, they don't do the grading. It's as simple as that. Also, I was speaking to Gemma, our last speaker, and she was saying how she gives her students written exams for their grading. And I thought, thank you, Gemma, I'm going to take that one as well. So for the white belt, for example, I'm not sure what Gemma does with her gradings, the exams. Well, what I do, the first one is all about respect. Respect, respect, respect. So the first question, why do we bow when we come into the hall? Why do we bow when we leave? Why do we clip our toenails? Why do we ask before we get a drink of water? And then it's, I put etiquette is the first tenet of Taekwondo. What does it mean? And then they have to list 5 things that their parents do for them, which is why they must give them respect. And obviously I tick them and whatever, but I don't give marks for it. I just want them to learn. So, and I say to the parents, you can sit next to them and go over it with them, help them out. So not only do they learn from their parents, but they're learning through Taekwondo, and their parents can see this exactly the direction that I'm pushing them into, okay? And that really works, and the parents really respect that. When they get to green belt, excuse me, my voice is a bit dry. When I get to green belt, then I step it up a bit. I say to the green belts and above, I want your grading form just as if you were doing a job application, yeah, or applying for university, applying for the grammar school, applying for something that you want. Okay, I want you to have pride in what you're doing, because I get fed up with these grading forms that we've got spilt tea on them or something, they look all crumpled. They've got to have pride in what they're doing, in preparing them for the outside world. The example that I give them is one of my former work colleagues, her partner, his job was to test video games all day. He played video games all day, okay? And I say to the kids, who would want that job? Oh, me, I want that. Okay, so then I tell them about another one of my friends who worked for the government, sorting out CVs for jobs. And I would say what she does is, if any CVs aren't good enough, they go to the bin, and she's left with that amount. And I say to the kids, if you, let's just say that job for the video, playing the video games all day came up, and you wanted to apply for that job, would that application get through? Would you get through to the short list, or would you ever even get the job? So all the time, even though they're young, I'm trying to get them into that mindset that they've got to try their hardest. If they're going to do something, they've got to do it properly. There's no sort of like, half-hearted, throw it to mum and dad, let them do it. They've got to do it themselves. Back in class, I also sit down regularly with the kids and just sometimes talk with them, normally about the 5 tenets again. Sometimes you see some of the behaviour going south a bit. Sometimes you might get a parent to come up to you and say, oh, that little kid over there said my kids use this, or whatever, something like that. So sit them all down, we go through the 5 tenets again, and we, bit by bit, and we relate it to the big wide world out there, to home life and to school. Also, we talk to them about bullying. And this is, once again, another major issue that the parents are really, really keen about their kids learning. If we get any kid coming into the club and saying that they've been bullied, and the main problem we've had, I don't know about where you guys are, I've had kids coming up to me, and also in class, and we do self-defense, and they say, our school said, if we begin bullied and we fight back, we're going to get expelled. And that's a very difficult one to overcome. And I have to say to them, well, why are you here? Your parents, are sending you here so you can learn to defend yourself. You can't just stand there. So we have to talk about things like that. So I use a lot of self-defense, a lot of locks as well to help them out, but also talk about scenarios about avoidance and things like that. But if any of the kids are being bullied, I take them to one side and we talk about it. Or what I can do, I say, would you mind if we talk about this in front of the class so we can discuss it? So, I might say, right, little Johnny here, he's had a bit of an incident with a bully. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to, obviously with his permission, and help him. And also, if it happens to you, you'll know what to do, okay? So we do that quite a bit in class. And people, the kids feel free, they feel able to talk about it. They're not hiding their emotions, they're not upset. They're quite happy to talk about it, and for me to talk about it with them in the class and get ideas. And there's no teasing or anything like that. I'll make sure of that. The main thing that and this is another great idea that I've come up with for anti-bullying is like a role play feature we call Beat the Bully. And this has been a phenomenal success in my class. what we do, I've actually stopped doing this in the class because it takes up too much time. So I tend to we do a separate little class sometimes on a Saturday afternoon or something. We've done the odd seminar. And what we do is we do role plays, and we get two of the biggest kids in the class, kids that I can trust. And we dress them all up in the protective gear. And we say, right, you guys are going to be the bullies. And then one person has to get to the other hall, and the bullies have got to stop them. Now, I could do a complete different presentation on this because there's so much there, but I'll just keep it as brief as I can. The bullies are told you're not allowed to do Taekwondo because that's not what bullies do. You're just going to grab hold of them, and the kids have got to try and get out of it. And what amazes me is that when the kids try it, the brain just goes, and they can't put the piece of the jigsaw puzzle together, and they're all doing this, and they're like this, and they grab the opponent's arms like this. And what we have to do is train them to do what the Taekwondo they know more naturally, and the self-defense techniques, so it all applies. So then, obviously, if I'm on my own, then all the rest of the kids are watching, so I can't have kids all over the place because I need to keep an eye on what's going on. And then we discuss it and say, right, where did little Johnny go wrong? How could he improve himself? And we discuss it. And then everyone will get a second go. And then we say, well, because everyone's seen everyone by then, now you have your second go. And then we ask, were they better than the last time? It's as simple as that. Have they learned something? And then we did, I did a seminar with Master Sean Daly before he emigrated. And we had mats out, and we went to town on it, and we did the older kids and the teenagers, and they absolutely loved it. But it got quite rough, and I was thinking, crikey, this is, But then I looked at the parents, and the parents were just like, wow, because what they could see was they could see how their children would react in this kind of environment. If they got into trouble, they could see how their children were going to deal with it. And they loved it, and it was, like I say, it's a massive success, and it's something that I would actually improve. Right, I think that's all I've got here. Yeah, so these are, this is just a brief snippet of what are some of the things that I do in my club. It's really worked for me. I've now sort of developed a reputation within the local community for this as well. So I get people walking through my door all the time. And I've actually also had some parents who have come to me and my wife in her job at the school saying, because obviously there's youngsters out there who martial arts isn't for them, and the parents have been absolutely gutted that their children have decided they want to leave because they can see the direction that I'm pointing them in. They can see what I'm trying to achieve with them. It's not just about punching and kicking. It's about making them a better person. And I say to them, there's two types of people in this world. People are part of the problem, people are part of the solution. And I want these guys to be part of the solution. And I'm desperately trying to make sure that they're the best person that they can be. I think that was it, really. I'm not sure where I'm in the 15 minutes. My apologies if I've overrun. I'm not sure if I missed out anything as well. So I hope I've given some people some ideas. And guys, if any of you got ideas as well, please come on, because I, for one, would love to hear them. So when I go back, when this is all down, it'd be nice to just go back to my class and hit them with something even better than I do. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening anyway. Siva?
Tony, hi Tony. That was a very, very interesting presentation around encouraging positive behavior and attitude, and from some of the messages I can see there were some golden nuggets that you're practicing and instilling in your members, especially around respect. I know some of our coaches have posted around bowing to the parents, and I will be starting to do that. And really, it comes out loud and clear that it's a community club revolving around martial art respects and the tenets of Taekwondo, but connecting clubs with schools and homes. I think that's really, really powerful. And I remember sharing a conversation with you a couple of weeks ago where you were telling me, you wipe out other martial art clubs near where you are. They don't want to you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I told you that there was a martial arts guy trying to do another Taekwondo club in the area, but not British Taekwondo, another group. And the parents were saying to him, when he was trying to hand out leaflets, "You're wasting your time. You know, we've got this guy up the road. He's got this area sewn." And when I found out about that, I was quite chuffed. You know, and the other thing I forgot to mention is that because of the reputation that I've got within the area, what I'm trying to do, all my students pay by standing order, and about half the parents have left theirs open because they understand what I'm trying to do. They want to make sure that I come back. And I've had a number of parents saying, "Look, I'm really sorry, but our income has been affected. We've got to stop the standing order." That's fine, no, but the number of people who have left it open, I'm just been very, very humbled by, very humbled.
Yeah. And I think that's really around, you know, instilling the appreciation and the behavior and the values to them as individuals and to the real life. But really, I think one of the messages that come out really loud and clear, even during lockdowns, is you're really trying to help people be better people, especially during these really strange times. But Tony, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks very much for listening.
And I'm sure the community appreciates you sharing your experience. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
We'll move swiftly on to our third and final speaker, and that is Chris Wood from Creative Ways Taekwondo. Chris is going to be covering the topic of platforms and equipment to enhance virtual lesson. I admire Chris's creative Zoom backgrounds and interactive things that he does. So, Chris, I will hand the floor over to you to share your thoughts with us.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve, and thanks, Ian, and thanks obviously to Gemma and Anthony as well before for all that advice. Also, hello, Grandmaster Shin. Nice to see you on the call as well. So I'll just quickly switch my screen and I'll go straight into my introduction so that I'm not taking up too much time. So first of all, introduction-wise, my name is Chris Wood, and I'm from Creative Ways Taekwondo in Milton Keynes. Our club's been running 10 years in June 2020, so it's our 10-year anniversary. Not quite how I kind of planned it to go in terms of celebrations, if you like, but it is what it is, and we are where we are, so we'll have to celebrate after. We've got 95 current members. 54% currently attending our online sessions. Prior to lockdown, we had 11.5 hours a week. We're a part-time club, so we don't have a full-time venue, and I've got a full-time job as well. It's just, like a lot of other clubs, really. The subject I'm going to be talking about today is just using technology to enhance your virtual online sessions for those that are interested by using some streaming software to populate Zoom, basically. I'm expecting two types of people to come out of this, and whilst you're listening, there'll be some that are really happy just using Zoom. They've got it, they understand it, and they're happy with it. It's working, job done, no problem. Okay, so there'll be those that are thinking it's a bit of a gimmick, and then there'll be those that quite like the idea of doing that a little bit extra, and want some more information about it. Okay, I'll try and keep this as simple as I possibly can. So firstly, obviously you've got the internet, and the internet's going to go to your computer. You need a camera and a microphone, and that camera and a microphone goes into some streaming software. And the streaming software really here is the key, that's the difference. So the streaming software then populates what people are seeing on Zoom, okay, which is exactly what you're seeing now, which is how you're seeing me in the bottom corner of the screen with a PowerPoint presentation running off my mobile phone into this software. Okay, so it's pretty amazing. That obviously then gets delivered onto all the platforms that your members are using. So they might be using a TV, tablet, iPhone, laptop, whatever it is that they're seeing. Okay, so starting off at the top, the internet. Okay, obviously you have to have the internet to be able to deliver Zoom sessions. Ideally, 100% Ethernet is kind of recommended, if you like. You're not going to lose any quality. Chances are of the session dropping out. much slimmer, and you can also plug your mobile phone directly into the internet using an Ethernet, or obviously not into the internet, but into your router, okay, using a cable and a dongle. Wi-Fi, you can do it, absolutely, but you need to be really close to your Wi-Fi router for it to not drop out. And another option for some people, especially if they're in an area that's got really slow broadband, you might want to get a mobile data plan, and a kind of a Wi-Fi dongle, if you like, that's external. So it's got its own battery, you put a SIM card in it, and it basically then will transmit the internet via 4G to whatever device you need. Some of them also come with Ethernet outs, so you can plug in directly into that. Okay, so the way that I'm delivering this is on Mac, but you can do it on PC. It isn't Mac versus PC. Okay, so if you've got a PC, you can absolutely do it. So don't think, oh yeah, it's only on Mac, so you know, that's half the people, let's say, that can't do it. But that's not the case at all. Everyone can do it. You can achieve the same results on either platform. I've used both, but I do prefer the Mac software. It's a bit easier, and yeah, works a treat. Camera wise, if you've got an old camcorder, okay, or a new camcorder, either or, you could use that. Okay, you'd need a capture card to do it, but it's absolutely possible. And I'll come on to capture cards a bit later. If you've got a DSLR camera or a decent digital camera that's got HDMI out, then you could use that. You could use the rear of your mobile phone camera. I wouldn't recommend using the front camera because the quality is not very good. This is currently being done on my camera is my iPad. Okay, so I'll talk to you a bit more about that later. If you've got a GoPro, you can absolutely use a GoPro, but it needs to be a certain type that's got a HDMI out, okay, and again with a capture card. The good thing about the GoPro is it's got a really wide-angled lens on it, so if you're in a confined space, it's really, really good to be able to kind of, you know, get everything out there and kind of make sure that you're showing, it just gives you more room, really, to be able to deliver your session. Next one, we have a USB webcam. So basically just a separate webcam, not one that's built into your laptop already. Much better quality. Worst case scenario, you can just use your laptop, built-in webcam. It works absolutely fine. Okay, so is it good? Is good quality? No. But does it work? Yes. So it doesn't really matter. It's one of them, isn't it? Some of these options, like I said before, would require a capture card, and they're available on like Amazon, places like that. They're about 100 quid though, so if you can get by with something else, then fully understand that. And I can go into more detail with anyone that needs to know a bit more about capture cards at a later date if you want. Okay, next up, microphone. Okay, microphone I found really, really important and quite a key thing. I'm using a Rode Wireless Go mic system, it's called, which I'll show you there. And it's really, really good. It's decent. It comes with a receiver and a sender. This is a sender, which is the microphone. And this little fluffy thing on the top basically takes out any bad noises from peas, for instance. So if I say Peter Piper picked a peck of pepper peppers, you should be able to hear it quite clearly. If I take this off and go Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you should be able to hear that there was a massive difference between the two. The good thing about this is it lasts for 7 hours on a 2-hour charge. I just clip it, usually on my V-neck on my uniform, no problems whatsoever, stays there the entire time, doing whatever, star jumps, burpees, the lot, no issues, and the whole time you've got decent audio. I did start off using AirPods, which is absolutely fine, they work. I just noticed that the batteries on mine went down quite quickly because you are sending, using the microphone part of it as well as just the audio. Okay, but they're a really good option. Another option, shotgun microphone, probably a bit too technical depending on who it is that's watching and listening, but if you've got one, you can utilize that 100%. Not a problem at all. You just need to mount it, pointing it the right way. The built-in microphone on your laptop, yes, it will work. Okay, but if you're, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 foot away, is it going to be decent quality? Probably not. Okay, so it's something to think about anyway. So that's microphone. Next up, we have when it works, streaming software. Okay, so streaming software wise, there's OBS that works on Mac and PC, and it's free. There's StreamYard, which is also Mac and PC. That's a monthly subscription. There's what I'm using. Okay, it's called Ickenham Live, and there's 3 different kind of packs, if you like. And I'm on the Pro pack because I need the virtual camera, and that costs $24.99 a month. But for me, it's worth every single penny. It's brilliant. There are other kind of platforms that you could use for streaming. They're the three main ones that I've kind of looked into that have worked for me. And yeah, that's Ecamm Live is fantastic. That's what I'm currently using now. So I've done just a graphic. So what I will do now is just switch to my desktop, and all these areas here I will go through with you and show you kind of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and how it's kind of helping to enhance my online sessions. So yeah, I'll just switch over now. Okay guys, so I've just switched over to obviously my desktop. Everything you can see is on my desktop. So this is the software, okay, Ecamm Live. It works with multiple cameras. So I've got, if I go into here, that's my mobile phone that's just done the presentation that you've just watched. So I can switch over to that. Go back to my normal, this is my inbuilt FaceTime camera, but if I go to this camera, then you can see I've got an additional camera. I could have 5 or 6 different cameras, all different angles. I could have one above my head looking down. So when I'm doing a pattern or a pumse, you can see it, which way they've got to turn, everything. Okay, so it's really, really useful, really, really handy. The really important part of the Ecamm Live Pro software part is the virtual cam. Okay, that's obviously switched on at the moment. And if I go into Zoom, which I will open, which I probably should have opened already, and bring up my Zoom window, and when I go into my options, it will be for my video. Within here, I've got Ecamm Live Virtual Camera. Okay, so that means that basically whatever Ecamm Live sees, it's going to then put into Zoom. Okay, so I could use my FaceTime built-in camera, or I could use virtual cam. Okay, now obviously the benefit to that is whatever you're seeing now in this rectangle in the center is exactly what your members would see. So just put in a simple thing like Creative Ways Taekwondo in the corner, for instance. But let's say for a start off for the warm-up, you're going to do a 30-second stopwatch. Just turn the stopwatch on. Now, what you're seeing in the bottom in this corner here, that's exactly what they'll see. They won't see any of all these overlays and all the settings. Okay, they'll literally see what's on that little preview window down in the corner here. Okay, and just turn that off. You can create lots of different ones, all sorts of different stuff. For an example, like if we're doing the Pumse 1, on their TV it comes up covering Pumse Tiger Kiljang #1. It's got 18 movements, that's the meaning, and that's just going to keep on playing about every 10 to 15 seconds. That's going to come up at the bottom of the screen, and it'll keep going over and over and over until I turn it off. So I'll turn that on if we're doing Pumse 1. Okay, so what's the benefit of that? It's okay, it looks a little bit more professional. That's great. That's why not? Okay, if we can look a bit more professional, at the end of the day, we are delivering online sessions now, and so is everyone else. So for me, standing out is a massive thing, and I think that we're going to need to stand out to kind of, you know, make use of it and try and make the best of what we're doing. Currently, our club's using an app called Band, which we use for like internal communication. Other clubs, I'm sure, probably are using similar things, but we've moved to that instead of Facebook Live. So during like water breaks, for instance, I'd literally play something like that, and it will come up and go, "Oh, download Band." You know, it's just little extra caveats that are like that just make a big difference. The other thing is that I'm finding really useful is playing like music and sound effects and things like that. So during our session, I've got warm-up music, for instance, that I can just hit, and then boom, it starts playing warm-up music, and that's coming through their TV or their iPad. So whilst we're doing the warm-up, that music's already on. It's in the background. It's 15, 18 minutes or so, or however long that, I can't remember how long this one is, and it'll play through until I hit stop, or if I play some different music. So it's really, really good from that side of things. You can use it to play videos that you've already created. So if I hit there, we did a 7-day challenge for press-ups. So I've made a little montage video, and before the lesson starts, 15 minutes earlier, this little video I can put on, I can play. I've created, and all these things are called overlays, okay? overlay. So if I play another one that I'd made, so this one's got tenets of Taekwondo. So before they start the session, they've got a background picture, and it just comes up tenets of Taekwondo, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, the more spirit, and it'll just keep looping over and playing it again and again and again. Okay, so stuff like that. It's really, is it useful? Yes, it's useful. I'm not having to sit there and go through the tenets of Taekwondo necessarily like every session, because it's just there. Okay, so when they join the session, it's going to be on the screen. So it's not to say I wouldn't go through them, but it's just another way of learning. Okay, and some people learn in a visual way. I'm sure everybody knows that already. Water breaks. So I'll quickly show you. We take water breaks. So do you guys. So instead of just having a camera there on an empty area, or me having a sip of my drink, then water break, creative ways, stay hydrated, whatever. Okay, just simple little things. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't put as much time into this as I'd like to, and I'm sure there's plenty of other things that you're potentially, or some of the coaches are sitting there thinking, wow, that's really, really good. I could use that for A, B, and C, or whatever it is. So yeah, I've got a countdown for an hour. So when we start the lesson, I can just at a quick glance at the laptop, rather than looking at what time it is and all the rest of it. Plus they can see that all the time. So they're training the entire time. And they're looking, thinking, oh, I've only got 25 minutes left. There's only 10 minutes left. There's only 5 minutes left, or whatever. So that's really, really useful. I'll get rid of that as well. So it's quite straightforward to use. It's not hard to use at all. All of these different areas here, basically this one down here controls the sounds. So if I hit this one at the start of the lesson, I'll basically play this. So if you listen to this, basically says, please listen to this important announcement. And then I've got an important announcement, which is basically just going over all of the important information, like a disclaimer. So it pops up on the screen, Creative Ways Taekwondo, and then we've got safety information. And before the lesson starts, about 2 minutes before, this gets played through, and that's it. Okay, job done. Okay, so there's lots of little things that I've been doing, trying to improve on, to try and make the sessions that a little bit more interactive, if you like. And I've got a couple of ideas, making the screen go put like an overlay up so it goes completely blue, or completely red, or completely green, or completely yellow, and that might mean that they do a certain kick. Or I'm thinking that potentially I could have like some circles pop up on the screen, and they've got to then cover wherever the kicks are coming. So there's so much stuff that it could do, but currently I'm still working full time, and obviously in the other times I'm attending lots of different kind of things on Zoom, which have been really, really good. So I think a lot of the coaches to try and get on board with a lot of the things that are going on like that. But yeah, it's really, really good bit of software, really good bit of kit. You can play pre-downloaded videos. So if I go into here and go to my downloads, I've downloaded a Pumse video the other day that we went through, and that'll just then that'll just play through this video now, and I can pause it. I can go frame by frame. So it's really, really, really good. It's really intuitive. So let's say, for instance, a student sends in their Pumse, or they send in a bit of their syllabus work, and for one-to-one sessions, it's really, really good to kind of give individual feedback. So yeah, it's coming in really useful, really handy. And then to switch back, so that's to play a video. I can share my screen by clicking this middle one, and then I'm back to my camera again here. I am using a green screen. I'm sure you've noticed I've got like a green screen behind me here. Is it a perfect green screen? No, it isn't. I'll turn it off. You can see how bad it is. But does it work? Does it do the job? Yes, it does. I'll turn it back on. At the backdrop of the green screen, you can change it to whatever you need. Okay, so some palm trees. I mean, don't get me wrong, these look gimmicky. We've got some, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Bit of beach. And then you can go completely ridiculously crazy and just wind people up. But for something like this, and you can blur the background out so it doesn't look quite as in your face. And yeah, I think it comes across a little bit more professional. I don't use any of the green screen stuff in the lessons. I think you'd need an awful lot of space if you did, but I can see why some people would. It'd be quite cool, to be honest, even if you just made everything in the background white and the floor a color or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. There's so much more I could go through. There's the settings and things like that. It's quite a full-on program. it's fantastic. It does a really good job at kind of just making the sessions that little bit more kind of interactive and coming across as a little bit more professional, I think, personally. So anyway, let me know your thoughts by all means. During this presentation, if you noticed anything that kind of stuck out a few times, if you could put it in the chat box now, just to kind of demonstrate that you've picked stuff up, you've received messages during this session that I didn't once say, and it might have been a quote from kind of a famous martial arts film. Anyway, thanks for your time, and I hope you got something out of it. I'll put my mobile number and my email address in the comments section, so that if anyone does want any further information, please just get in touch. Happy to help anyone, and I think this is a really useful piece of kit for a lot of people. Thank you.
Chris, thank you for that, Chris. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, I'm blown away, just like so many other of our colleagues on this call, and I think you've just taken online Zoom to a completely different level. And I mentioned to you a few times on various chats or forums that I'm extremely impressed and inspired by how you can actually make your sessions more creative. And a couple of things that kind of stood out is, I guess you know, there's no running away from technology, but over time I think we somehow need to make the interaction more exciting and more engaging, especially with the younger members. Can I just a quick question? How have you found the engagement of your younger participations or any participation by using such technology and graphics?
I'm going to be really honest. I started from day one using this software, and the only reason that I did that is because I just kind of I straight away thought I used to use OBS a long time ago, and I thought if I'm going to deliver sessions online, knowing that platform and knowing what I could do with it, I just kind of thought straight away I need something that's gonna work and try and enhance it straight away. So I haven't done a single session without using that yet, and we're a week. I think this is the end of week 5 coming up that we've done online sessions. So I haven't kind of seen the world before, if you like, and neither have my students. However, I have added a lot more functionality since, and like I've got my entire syllabus as overlays. So now I'm kind of in session calling out people's names and saying, like Noah, for instance, might be a blue tag. So I'd go into the syllabus and basically tell him to pick a number between 1 and 10 that's on our syllabus. If he picks number 7, I've actually got like a remote control for these overlays, which I can quickly just give you another demonstration of, which makes it even more intuitive, really. So I don't know if you can see that on here.
Yeah.
If I go into my syllabus and I go to blue tag there, and let's say I pick number 5.7. My microphone will turn off, but it'll give you an example.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Okay, and then I can talk through spinning turning kicks, and then we go through spinning turning kicks, and that'll be a 5-minute or 7-minute part of our session. And then I'll pick another member and pick part of their syllabus, and they pick a number between 1 and 10 or 1 and 15, depending on what the grade is. And yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I can't.
No, I'm really impressed. And Chris, you know, you're definitely pushing the barriers, and it's really, really appreciated that you share it with the wider Taekwondo community. If anyone out there wants to step up your Zoom interactive live sessions, then Chris is your man. But Chris, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Welcome. No worries. Thanks.
So that kind of concludes our 3rd conference call. And just to kind of wrap up, I just want to take this opportunity to thank our speakers, Gemma, Tony, and Chris, for their presentations today. And I hope it's been useful and it's been constructive and productive. Please keep your questions coming. I believe we have answered as many of the questions on the chat room, but if it hasn't, it will be picked up by our speakers, and it will be published on our website, just like the other two live conference calls. And I'm pretty sure Rhiannon's going to be on it in regards to ensuring that this conference call is published on our website with the questions answered as well. But in the meantime, I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of Ian and British Taekwondo to thank everyone for your continued hard work. During lockdown, it's not the easiest time, and as weeks go by, the uncertainty is just really unbearable. But you know, as a Taekwondo community and our tenets of Taekwondo, obviously, you know, that imparts on us, you know, let's continue, push forward, and share and collaborate our knowledge and experiences. So on that note, just want to say thank you to everyone for attending. We don't have Phil Payne on this week, but two developments from the government that has happened this week and probably in the next week is the bounce back business opportunity loans that an email had gone out earlier this week by James. And also, if you are self-employed and file self-assessment, then the self-employed income support scheme kickstarts on the 15th of May. So if these apply to you, then the information is already emailed by James to the Taekwondo community. But on that note, I just want to say thank you for your time and keep pushing forward, everyone. Our next conference call will be in 2 weeks' time, and the panel for those calls will be announced very, very shortly. But in the meantime, just keep safe and keep well.